Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating esoteric text. It's short, sure, but it is incredibly dense and makes some of the most sweeping, mind-bending claims I think I've ever seen. We're talking about a document that describes a contemporary Zen master, someone referred to as a once-in-a-millennium living Tathagata. Basically, a fully enlightened Buddha, or an Eastern saint. And according to this text, this enigmatic figure supposedly influenced everything from the highest levels of quantum physics to high-stakes global geopolitics. So whether you're reading this as literal history or as a deep spiritual metaphor, the narrative weaves this remarkable tapestry that connects ancient mysticism directly to our modern world. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Cosmic mysteries and secular miracles. 2. Resolving crises and saving lives. 3. Transmitting Dharma and political advice. And finally, 4. Positive energy transcending religion. All right, Section 1, Cosmic Mysteries and Secular Miracles. We're going to start at the macro level here, looking at how the source material attributes unbelievably world-altering events to this one figure. It is absolutely wild how this text deliberately juxtaposes profound ancient mysticism right alongside hypermodern human achievements. Take science, for example. The text states that with just one word, the master provided the ultimate theoretical answer to the cosmic mysteries being studied at Fermi Lab. And, Fermi Lab is literally one of the world's premier particle physics laboratories. Then, jumping straight into geopolitics, he is positioned as this silent architect behind major world events, supposedly acting twice to resolve crises that could have easily led to an absolute bloodbath in the Taiwan Strait. And get this. The sweeping influence doesn't stop at science and politics. It extends to physical architecture. There's this classic Zen paradox: do nothing, yet leave nothing undone. Well, that exact phrase was supposedly the philosophical anchor the master used to rescue a massive, too-big-to-fail construction company. The narrative asserts that this direct spiritual intervention is what ultimately led to the successful creation of the iconic Taipei 101 skyscraper. I mean, it's just incredible to think about a purely philosophical concept physically manifesting into one of the tallest buildings in the world. Moving beyond just preventing conflict, the document claims his influence extended deeply into macro geopolitics by actively breaking the ice in cross-strait relations. But what's interesting is how it's framed. It's not just a political maneuver. It's presented as a spiritual necessity. It was all about returning the orthodox Dharma, meaning the pure original teachings of Buddhism, to the motherland. So in this narrative, the political and the spiritual are completely inextricably intertwined. Section 2, Resolving Crises and Saving Lives. Let's zoom in a bit from the global stage to some intensely personal, high-stakes interventions. Here, the narrative paints the master as a literal savior operating right in the thick of human chaos. We literally go from the cosmic mysteries of Fermi Lab straight into the gritty underworld, where he's mediating a life-or-death shootout between central gang bosses. Plus, he's specifically credited with saving the lives of political figures like Vice President Liu and Lian's son. He even supposedly extended the life of the region's richest man. The implication here is staggering, right? It implies his power could manipulate life and death itself across every single level of society. Now, despite all these massive, public, miraculous interventions, the text notes a profound concern for the future. To ensure his pure teachings actually survive the chaos of the world, he held an unprecedented 10-period intensive Zen 7 retreat. If you don't know, that is essentially a grueling, continuous cycle of strict meditation. And the sole purpose of this massive undertaking? To cultivate and train a single core direct disciple. It's a fascinating shift from these broad, global miracles to a highly concentrated, entirely private spiritual transmission. Which brings us to Section 3, Transmitting Dharma and Political Advice. Let's look at how the master ensured that spiritual legacy survived. Okay, so to really grasp this, we need to understand a couple of esoteric terms. To prepare his core disciple for this massive responsibility, the master guided him through Huatou. That's a rigorous Zen practice where you focus on a paradoxical phrase just to completely exhaust your logical mind. Then came nourishing the sacred fetus, which essentially means deeply protecting that initial, super fragile spark of spiritual awakening. And we're told the master fiercely protected this disciple, literally saving his life over a dozen times when karmic obstacles manifested, all so the disciple could carry the heavy burden of spreading the true teaching. Then, the text takes this wild pivot right into the heart of modern Chinese politics. Right before his passing, the master orchestrated a high-level transmission of his core philosophy, which he called the positive energy theory.
The timeline outlines how he notified major political and business figures, specifically naming the Zhang faction and tech billionaire Jack Ma to take back this theory. And that ultimately led to top leadership, namely Xi, publishing it. Now, we're simply unpacking what the text says here, but it's just incredible how the master is presented as the secret foundational architect behind major state-level philosophical messaging.
And here is the core warning the text gives to those in power. Without genuine political reform and deep, dedicated spiritual practice, everything you gain will be easily lost. The master fulfilled people's wishes, granting wealth that rivaled entire nations, but he repeatedly emphasized that true permanence only comes from one place: the power of the present moment, the now. Finally, Section 4, Positive Energy Transcending Religion. If you strip away the miracles, the politics, and the esoteric training, what's the core takeaway for the rest of us? Well, we're given this highly accessible method known as the Great Tao. Step 1, literally transcend religion entirely. Just let it go. Step 2, count your breaths. Very simple, right? Step 3, let go of your attachments and live entirely in the present moment. And step 4, by doing all of this, you harness positive energy. It is a brilliant distillation of complex Zen Buddhism into these practical, secular, four-step mechanics of mindfulness. Now, the source argues that deploying this positive energy isn't just about, finding some personal calm. It's pitched as the greatest power in the universe. Spreading this accessible method is positioned as the absolute only way to solve our modern crises. The ultimate goals? To purify human minds, elevate cultural literacy, resolve our deep crises of morality and faith, and ultimately, to promote actual, lasting world peace. And that leads us to this single, sweeping statement, which really serves as the definitive conclusion of all the master's teachings. Everything is an energy problem. It boldly boils down all the cosmic mysteries of Fermi Lab, the massive geopolitical tensions of the Taiwan Strait, the underworld shootouts, and even your own personal daily struggles into one single universal metric: energy. So, setting aside the unverified supernatural and historical claims for a moment, this document actually challenges us with a very real, incredibly practical reflection to take away today. If everything, from global politics to your own peace of mind, truly boils down to energy, well, we have to look inward. In a noisy, chaotic world that is just constantly demanding your attention, how are you harnessing your own focus and energy right now? Are you counting your breaths, or are you just caught up in the chaos? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating text with me, and I'll leave you to ponder that question.